Hello, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another episode of 30 Albums for 30 Years. This is the World Music Edition. I am your host, Jay Sweet. Now, as you know, the basis for my regular program is an evaluation of the most impactful albums recorded between 1964 and 1994, along with interviews from significant artists. But for this series, I take a look at world music and its impact on American popular music as well. You may ask, why am I putting out even more content? Well, the reason is that I was asked to teach a course in global pop music, so I am studying, and I figured I would just share my findings with you. The world is a humongous place, and we should at least have some awareness of global music and culture, and this series will help you to at least have an introduction into the rich diversity and power of music worldwide. So let's take this journey together. In today's episode, we will travel to the islands of Trinidad and Tobago and learn about their music. So the music of Trinidad and Tobago offers a rich and diverse heritage and history. The original inhabitants of Trinidad were the indigenous Amerindian people who had their own musical traditions, which included chanting and drumming, singing, all often accompanied by handmade instruments like drums, shakers, and flutes. Then Trinidad was colonized by various European powers, including Spain, Britain, and France, and each of these powers had its own musical heritage and influence, including European classical music, African rhythms and melodies, and French and Spanish folk music. These influences began to blend with the existing indigenous traditions, leading to the emergence of various musical styles, all very unique. Now, during the colonial period, Trinidad became a hub of the transatlantic slave trade. This resulted in a significant population of enslaved Africans. Bringing with them was their musical traditions as well, which included call and response singing, intricate rhythmic compositions, and a heavy usage of drumming. Now, these traditions played a crucial role in the development of Trinidad's music, particularly in the rhythmic foundations of many of their genres. One of the genres most associated with the music of Trinidad is calypso music. Calypso emerged in the late 19th century as a form of music and social commentary among the African-descended people living in Trinidad. It incorporated elements of African music blended with European musical traditions, featuring storytelling lyrics, syncopated rhythms, and lively instrumentation. Calypso was often performed during the Carnival celebration and became a powerful medium for political and social critique. Now, the Carnival celebration is a festival that takes place on the Monday and Tuesday before Lent. That's a 6-week period before Easter, and includes these lavish costumes, this vibrant music and dancing. It's quite a spectacle. Now, one of the instruments most associated with the music of Trinidad is the steel pan or the steel drum. It's one of Trinidad's most iconic musical instruments, and it originated in the mid-20th century. The steel pan was developed by innovatively repurposing discarded oil drums, and then hand hammering the surface of those drums to create pitched percussion. Steel pan bands known as steel orchestras gained popularity and became an integral part of Trinidad's musical culture. Famous pan artists include Lennox Bugsy Sharp, Ellie Manette, and Ray Holman. We begin our journey into calypso music with the song Mary Ann. Mary Ann is a calypso classic that has been performed by numerous calypso and American folk artists. The song was written by Roaring Lion and recorded in 1939. Born in 1908, the man known as Roaring Lion is actually Raphael de Leon, and he was critical in helping to develop the calypso tradition. The song tells the story of a sailor who fell in love with Mary Ann while visiting Trinidad. The Great Depression of the 1930s brought adverse times to Trinidad and Tobago. Phenomenally high levels of unemployment, poverty, anti-colonial sentiment, civil and labor unrest, and the overhanging threat of war were all significant issues. In 1935, calypso artist Growling Tiger released the song Money is King. The song talks about how wealth can bring opportunity, but also greed and social disparity. In the lyrics, Tiger recites, "If you have money, you can commit murder and get off free and live in the governor's company. But if you are poor, people will tell you to shoo, and a dog is better than you." Growling Tiger is another impactful calypso artist from Trinidad who helped to shape the direction of the music and its rich traditions. Like many folk forms, calypso music can have topical lyrics, serving almost like a musical form of journalism. One such song is Roosevelt in Trinidad. In 1936, President Franklin Roosevelt visited Trinidad, and his visit was met with great anticipation and fanfare. The piece discusses the optimism surrounding his visit. The song was popularized by Attila the Hun. Attila the Hun was a calypso artist who performed frequently in the 1930s in New York City, and apparently Roosevelt was a fan of calypso music and had heard Attila the Hun's band in 1936. Hun's music was filled with political and social commentary, and it often led to the banning of several of his songs. He was also a strong defender of people experiencing poverty. In 1940, the U.S. established a military base in Trinidad to benefit from the production of oil in the Caribbean Sea. The presence of Americans on the island greatly affected Trinidad's culture. In 1943, the song Rum and Coca-Cola, performed by Lord Invader, became a local hit. While Trinidad residents often drank rum and plain soda, American soldiers preferred rum and Coke. The song is a reference to that drink and the cultural changes created by the presence of Americans. In traditional calypso fashion, the song offers social commentary, but in a humorous and satirical way. The lyrics speak of how when the Yankees first went to Trinidad, some of the young girls were more than glad. They said Yankees treat them nice and give them a better price. This is likely a reference to Americans paying for the services of prostitutes. The second verse speaks of how mothers and daughters would work for Yankee dollars. The narrator then discusses how a woman left him for a Yankee soldier, and later he talks about a couple he knew who got married, and on their honeymoon to Miami, the wife ran away with an American. Musically, calypso music was always changing, and the use of the clarinet as a lead instrument in this song shows the influence of American jazz on calypso music. The song became a big hit for the Andrews Sisters as well, and is often performed and remains a calypso classic. The man who truly popularized calypso music in America was the recently deceased Harry Belafonte. Born in New York City in 1927, Belafonte was of mixed descent. His heritage included Afro-Jamaican, Scottish-Jamaican, and Dutch-Jewish descent. In 1956, the singer released his third album, Calypso, on RCA Victor Records. The album changed popular music forever. The record was the first million-selling LP by a single artist. Calypso peaked at number 1 for an incredible 32 weeks. The first track on the album is the ever-popular Deo, the Banana Boat song. The tune is a Jamaican folk song first recorded by Trinidadian singer Edric Connor in 1952. It is a typical call and response work song from the point of view of dock workers handling the grueling night shift, loading bananas onto ships. In addition to his work as a singer and actor, Belafonte was a close ally of Martin Luther King and a strong supporter of the civil rights movement. Harry Belafonte is one of only a few performers to have earned an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. One of the standards of pan music is a song called Pan in A minor. It's a popular and influential steel pan composition by Lord Kitchener, a Trinidadian, calypsonian, and composer. The song was written in 1971 and is considered one of Kitchener's most iconic works. Pan in A minor showcases the steel pan's unique sounds and capabilities. The title refers to the key signature of the tune, which is in the minor key of A minor. The minor key gives the song a slightly melancholy feel. The lyrics pay tribute to the steel pan and its significance in Trinidadian music and culture. Pan in A minor has become an anthem and an often recorded calypso classic. Lord Kitchener, whose real name was Aldwin Roberts, was a highly influential calypsonian. He is widely celebrated for popularizing calypso internationally. His career began in the 1930s, and he came to notoriety by competing in calypso competitions. Throughout the 1950s and 1960s, his music spread internationally during a period in which interest in calypso music had become more widespread, and overall, he composed more than 800 songs. Lyrically, his music included social commentary, political satire, and humor. Lord Kitchener is a national treasure of Trinidad and is affectionately known as the Grand Master. This next track is Ray Holman's Red Beans and Rice. In 1957, Ray Holman began playing the steel pan at the age of 13 with the Invaders Steel Orchestra, led by the iconic Ellie Manette. By 1963, Holman was working with the steel band Starlift and continued to gain notoriety as a pan player, composer, and arranger. By making frequent trips to the US, Japan, and Europe, he became one of the most familiar voices of pan music. His most downloaded recording is Red Beans and Rice, from his 2003 release In Touch. Red Beans and Rice truly captures the spirit and energy of pan music. Enjoy. By 1963, the American military left Trinidad, which created an economic decline. By the 1970s, the economic situation improved with the increased production of oil, and this attracted tourism, particularly American tourism. Popular at the time was disco music, R&B music, and soul music, and those subgenres began to filter into traditional calypso music, thus creating soul calypso, also known as soca, S-O-C-A. Soca music often has fast tempos, funky bass lines, a heavy usage of synthesizers, drum machines, along with catchy melodies. There's often dance moves associated with the style as well. Soca became the dominant genre during Carnival, which is known for its energetic and festive atmosphere. The most famed international soca hit is Hot, Hot, Hot by Arrow, released in 1982. The song gained widespread attention when it was included as the official anthem of the 1986 FIFA World Cup, and then again when it was recorded by ex-New York Dolls frontman David Johansen under the pseudonym Buster Poindexter in 1987. Arrow is Alphonsus Cassell. He began performing at the age of 10, and by 1971, he was making records. Arrow was known to fuse calypso music with various other genres, and he established himself as one of the leading Caribbean artists. In 2010, Arrow died after battling cancer. His version of Hot 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 is notable for its funky bass line, danceable rhythms, synthesized horn lines, and rhythmic guitar figures. It is the ultimate party song. Another popular musical subgenre that developed in Trinidad was chutney music, Chutney. Chutney music evolved from a cultural mix of Trinidad's rising Indian population. Many people from India had come to Trinidad to provide cheap labor. Chutney music blends traditional Indian music with Caribbean rhythms. It gained popularity in the 1980s and has become a vibrant genre, and it's often performed during Indian cultural festivals. Rum Is My Lover is a chutney song released in 2006 by Ravi B., one of chutney's leading figures. The song offers the perfect blend of calypso and traditional Indian music and speaks to the singer's love of rum. The narrator drinks it a lot, even though drinking excessive rum killed his mother, his father, his brother, and his sister. Ravi B. was born in Trinidad, and his parents are of Indian descent. He began singing professionally at the age of 13 and became a star in his 20s. He is one of the few Caribbean artists who can perform and sing chutney soca, Bollywood playback music, soca, reggae, and classical Indian music. Ravi B. still practices the Hindu traditions passed on by his elders. He is also a radio personality with Trinidad and Tobago's Indian radio station 90.5 FM. Rapso music is a Trinidadian music that grew out of the social unrest of the 1970s and the Black Power movement. Rapso is a fusion of rap and calypso that emerged in the late 1970s as a form of social and political commentary. Other genres like reggae, dancehall, hip-hop, and R&B have also influenced the Trinidadian music scene, reflecting global trends and cross-cultural exchanges. Lancelot Lane is one of the founders of rapso music. His 1970s song Blow Away is generally regarded as the first rapso song, and the album by the same name is considered a critical work. During his career, he took many trips to Africa, studied African history, and helped spread the music of Trinidad globally. His lyrics are often thought-provoking and provocative. The song Blow Away mixed rap, African rhythms, and calypso. Lane calls out the people throughout the song and warns against setting and accepting false standards. He also tells the listeners, don't believe that what foreigners do is better than you. So as I previously mentioned, when you think about the music of Trinidad and Tobago, you often think of the steel drums or the steel pan. Now, the steel drums filtered into some popular US releases. Dave Samuels is an American percussionist who played vibraphone and marimba with the popular post-jazz unit Spyro Gyro and later with Caribbean Jazz Project. He was also known for using the steel pan in both groups, thus creating a connection between American jazz and the music of Trinidad. The song Morning Dance is one of Spyro Gyro's most popular tracks. The song is the title track of the group's second album, Morning Dance, from 1979, and Morning Dance reached number 27 on the Billboard charts. Dave Samuels can be heard playing both the steel drums and the marimbas on this island-flavored cut. So check it out, Morning Dance by Spyro Gyro. Another popular song that uses the steel drums is Jane Says by the alternative rock supergroup Jane's Addiction. The song was first released in 1987, and it is one of the group's most beloved songs. The title refers to bandleader and singer Perry Farrell's ex-housemate and muse, Jane Banter. The entire song is only 2 chords, and several versions of the tune exist, including a recording from the album Nothing Shocking, in which drummer Stephen Perkins plays the steel drums, making it one of the most popular songs to incorporate that instrument, Trinidad's most signature instrument. This live version comes from an album called Kettle Whistle from 1987. Jane Says. One Trinidad-born artist that received quite a bit of attention in the 1980s on the US pop markets was Billy Ocean. Ocean was exposed to the country's music and culture at a young age. At 10, his family relocated to East London, England. Between 1972 and 1982, he released 4 studio albums, but had not yet broken through. Late in 1984, he recorded the hit album Suddenly, which peaked at number 9 and included the hit single Caribbean Queen, which connects to his island roots. More hits followed, such as Loverboy, When the Going Gets Tough, the Tough Gets Going, There'll Be Sad Songs to Make You Cry, and Get Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Car. Caribbean Queen was recorded under different titles for different parts of the world, resulting in versions such as European Queen and African Queen. In the US, the song was released under the title Caribbean Queen, No More Love on the Run. The song hit number 1 10 weeks after it was dropped and stayed at the top of the charts for 2 consecutive weeks. All in all, the tune charted for 26 weeks. The song is noted for its catchy chorus, synthesized strings and drum beat, clever guitar work, and saxophone solo. Ocean received a Grammy for the song in 1985 under the category Best Male R&B Vocal Performance. Another Trinidad-born artist who has had incredible success is Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj was born in 1982. Both of her parents were part-time singers in Trinidad. Her father was a known addict and had a violent temper and burned down the family's house in 1987. Following the event, Minaj moved to Queens with her family at the age of 5 and eventually went on to attend the Fiorello H. LaGuardia High School of Music and Performing Arts. After graduating, Minaj worked for some time as a stage actress. In 2004, she began to focus more on her music and her time with the Brooklyn group Full Force. She then left the group and began releasing music on MySpace. So she began releasing these mixtapes and eventually was discovered by rapper Lil Wayne, who signed her to his label. In 2010, she was recorded as a guest with Lil Wayne and Mariah Carey. And that same year, she released her debut album, Pink Friday, which eventually hit number 1 and went on to sell more than 100 million records. Her rapping is known for her speed and her use of alter egos. One of her songs is Starship from her second album, Roman Reloaded, 2012. Minaj co-wrote the song, and the tune peaked inside the top 5 on the Billboard charts in 15 countries. It debuted at number 9 on the US Billboard charts and spent a total of 21 consecutive weeks in the top 10, peaking at number 5. This broke a chart record at the time. The song has sold 4.5 million digital downloads in the US alone, and that's only as of 2014. And it's been certified 6 times platinum. Starships is among the best-selling singles of all time worldwide, with 7.2 million copies sold. That's of 2012, so just think there's even more than that. The tune offers a feel that has some island influence and connects to her Trinidadian roots, the music of soca, and the rapso tradition. Starships. For our final track, we turn to David Rudder and the song Trinidad Tobego. David Rudder is a calypsonian hero and one of the most successful modern calypso artists of all time. Born in Trinidad, Rudder began his career as a backup singer for Lord Kitchener. Today, Rudder has been described as modern calypso's most innovative songwriter. He has released more than 30 albums and has performed in venues across the Caribbean, Europe, North and South America, Asia, and Africa. In April 2023, Rudder announced that he has been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. He also announced that he would continue writing new material and only give smaller concerts. The song Trinidad to the Bone speaks of Rudder's love of his homeland, Trinidad. All right, my friends, there we have it. Thank you for joining me on this very special episode of 30 Albums for 30 Years, the World Music Edition. To learn more about our regular programming, you can go to 30albumsfor30years.com. You can check us out on social media. We also run these shows on YouTube as well. So keep listening, and together, let's keep this music alive. Have a wonderful day.